shop, tools in hand, balsa wood, we make a stand, carving dreams from days gone by, stunt hanger planes that touch the sky, control lines tight, the engine hums, crafting art where passion drums, stunt hanger, flying high, old world craft beneath the sky, balsa wings we build with care, stunt hanger, join us there.
Welcome. I was going to BS you, but I guess I'm not going to. See, had a problem with this fuselage, and figured out a fix for it. But we're talking about playing it off like it was on purpose. It wasn't. But I think once I show you this fix, that there's going to be a lot of people who want to do it just because. So I need to get this Mylar out of here. And once I get that, we'll change camera angles. I'm going to use 2 sheets of Mylar. I already had 2. Okay. Now, Dan and I talked this morning about using HTR 250. Well, it takes too damn long to dry, so or cure or whatever. So I'm going to use Z epoxy. We also talked about putting CA down in it and fixing it that way. What am I talking about? This fuselage bowed on me. I don't know if it's because of how it was put together or I'm going to turn it on. This mouse is not working anymore. Time to buy a new mouse. There we go. Chat. We got 2 chats. Steve Berry, good morning. And I can't read who it is. Oh, well. Good morning, everybody. Anyhow. So I sat and figured out, or sat and thought about how to straighten this fuselage. It warped in the wrong direction. It's still got a little bit on it right now where it needs to be pulled back this way, just a little bit. But it's a whole lot straighter than it was. So what I thought of was I took a 4-inch piece of wood here. Let me change views. I need to probably turn this camera down. For some reason, that camera's out of focus. Out of focus. Focus, focus. Come on. All right. So I took this piece of wood here and I tack glued it to the side of this fuselage to use as a caul or a straight edge. I took it out to the garage and I ran it on the table saw, and I set the table saw up to cut an 1/8 inch wide groove, an 1/8 inch deep on both sides. So we got one on this side, or two on this side, and two on this side. And believe it or not, when I ran it through the saw, that relieved 90% of the power of the wood. It straightened out. It's still not perfect, but we're going to make it perfect. And how I'm going to do that, is pretty simple. Take this Mylar here. I actually need a second piece here. It's not quite long enough. Fortunately for me, I got plenty. Okay. The fix that I come up with is I'm going to take carbon tow, which weighs nothing. I'm going to saturate it in Z-epoxy and shove it down in that crack. And then take an 1/8 inch piece of balsa wood and cap it. Sand it flush, you'll never know it's there. But the reason I say that this may become a thing is this how to make this fuselage super stiff. You know, if you ever watch a profile, when they're running on the ground, the stabilizer is flopping around like ridiculous. The harmonics. So we had talked about just saying, well, I had planned it this way. Well, I didn't, but you know, I'm not much one for lying, so I'll tell you what happened. But that's to show you the power that's in that wood. Just those two slots that I cut relieved all that power out of the wood. I mean, it was surprising. It's shit. Remember what I told you about problem solving? You got to be a good problem solver when you're building these stupid things, because all this shit comes up pretty regular. Okay, so we got the toe. We need this magazine, our epoxy mixing magazine. This is an older one. but whatever. I just need it to stay straight until I get it locked up. I'm almost betting that I probably ought to cut that stab opening before. Matter of fact, I know I should. Before I put the toe in it, because then I would have to cut through the toe. And that really ties the stab to the wing. This is a good idea. This is really a good idea. 11 o'clock here. We gotta go shopping. So while I'm out shopping, I will go to the hobby shop and get the plywood for the doublers. So let's draw that out again and get the stab set in there. Or get the cutout for it anyway. I just had this bench 100% clear. And because I don't have any space in here, this bench is all crapped up. I can't find nothing. This pencil doesn't write very well on this wood for some reason. So that runs right from the motor mount to the leading edge of the stabilizer. That's a good deal. That is a good deal. There we go. I need to cut that out before I do this, so let's do that. Let's do that. Let's see, I got a Forstner bit, but it's underneath a pile of crap. I could drill it with probably a 1/2 inch bit and get a saw going in there. You might ask, why am I doing this now? Well, you ever try to cut through carbon fiber with a razor blade or a saw? It's a bitch. It's a bitch. So we got drill bits here. Let's do this. Let's use an 1/8 here. Sparky the human drill press. Okie dokie, let's cut her out. Get her sanded up. Basically, what I'm trying to get across with this fix is just because something's screwed up, all is not lost. Thanks, Mom. The last present my mother gave me before she passed away was this saw. She said, I think you can use this. I said, I think so too. I mean, it's not worth anything. It just sentimental value, and it works good. I got another one around here that would probably work better to get in that hole, but the blade is kind of flimsy. What did I do with it? Different program tonight for getting into stun hanger because of last week's debacle. Look for the link, and you're going to have to send me a message to get the code to come in. If I don't know you, you ain't getting in. Okay, so I got a slot cut. Now I need a sanding stick. What did I do with them? There we go. That ain't the right one. It stayed straight. I don't understand how it did it, but whatever. Be nice now to have a little belt sander. It ain't gonna fit in there. It's nowhere near wide enough. Nowhere near. Let's get another stick. Ain't it? This will work for the leading edge. Okay, maybe the smaller one. No, I need a smaller tube. Hello, everyone. Yeah. Hello. I guess we could use that stick right there, or this one. Let's use this one. This would be better. Trailing edge. Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Let's see how close we are. Yeah. Just as I thought, not yet. Almost. Anybody got $3.9 million that would like to open a hobby park? There's a pretty nice. I got a pretty nice idea for a hobby park. Got a runway on it. You can land a real airplane. You could have about 20 circles, motels. Oh man, that's nasty. Let's get a Dado. Better. No, not that. Not that. Guess we could use that. Oh, shit. Could be Stunhanger Central, somewhere in Georgia. But it is 3.9 million. I have it. I put it up. But I ain't got it. $3.9 million. We got to take a little off that. Almost. That's pretty damn close. Support and mic given. What do you mean support and mic given? I'll be sending out an email today to you guys on Stunhanger. We got to get this done by the end of the month here. About $2,000. I got a third of it. There it is. That fit perfect. I would say that's a pretty good fit. Let's see how big the rudder is for this thing, how big it looks. It'll be fine. Okay, let's get our longerons, our carbon longerons in. No, no, a high aspect ratio wing does not fly better in the wind. It's worse. You start spreading things away from the center of gravity, yeah, it's long and thin, but when the wind hits it, it's just buffering all around the lever. And I can't believe it. It stayed straight. It's almost like I don't have to do that, but if I don't do it, I know I'll be sorry. This thing is starting to get pretty heavy, though. I gotta do what I gotta do. 155. Let's see what that is. It's quite a bit. Put that on my phone. There it is. Well, I gotta get to Harbor Freight. Black Friday sale ends today. That ain't too bad. It's 5 ounces. We can go up to 7. Okay. I need my magazine here. This is what we're going to saturate the toe on this. We need a brush. Get a smaller cup. I need gloves. Actually, I have to use these. We'll use these instead. These are crap gloves. But bend over. Exam time. Okay. Z-epoxy. Sorry, Dan. I'm going to use Z-epoxy. He keeps wanting me to try this HTR 250, and I know that it works, but I know that this sands, so, and it dries quick, relatively. Interesting. My scientific way of measuring. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, we're going to need a spreader. So the trick is to get all this shit into the toe. Then we'll get it all out and we'll get it all in the groove. Fill it up, stick a piece of wood in there. Weight it all down. Hopefully it straightens it all out. It will stay straight. It's good enough for a bell crank. It's good enough for the fuselage. Okay, that's one. How is this carbon toe going to prevent the tail from twisting? You'll see. One is under tension, one is under compression at all times. So, and if I was real slick, I could put some diagonals in there, but I don't want to load this thing up with a bunch of weight. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. That's just an educated guess. And as with as many airplanes, I built a pretty good education. We'll get some 1/8 inch and stick in there real quick, and that way it'll all be drying at once. Dry, cure, whatever. Yeah, you could Warren truss this to make it more rigid, but do a lot of things to make it more. You put plywood on the side of it. The trick in building airplanes is to build it strong enough to last one season. Is all, not 100 years. They're too heavy that way. Okay, let me get some 1/8 inch. Do it one side at a time, I guess. Hopefully this works. Okay, where's the stripper? Or do I have to strip it by eye? There it is right there. So I cut that an 1/8 inch deep, so we'll make this an 1/8 inch square. Well, looks like I might have to sand the bevel in that to get it to go in. Yep. Doing something like that to the wing, would that help straighten the wing? Well, you got to straighten, no. No, it would not straighten the wing like that. Don't do that to a wing. Okay, so we need to put a bevel on one side of this so it'll go in there. Maybe I'll do both sides. Okay, try again. Heck of a time trying to hurry here. Ah. How many guys think that's going to help? Okay, so we need to do what here? We need to bevel this edge. No, that's broken. Okay. I don't know about that. A lot of guys out there doing the same stuff. A lot of guys doing the same shit. Okay, let's see. Stayed straight, so that's all that counts. All that matters. Well, I can't find the knife, so we'll just cut it. I need gloves again. Damn. Need gloves again. Wonder how much plywood's gonna be. Whatever it is, it's probably too much. Yep, I lost my brush. Where'd it go? Yeah, I got plenty of those. Oh, brush is in it. Duh. Okay. This is a test. They're testing our tornado sirens. Ain't no tornadoes in the winter. How many of you guys think this is going to work? I'm going to have to make some more Z-epoxy, it looks like. Testing the emergency broadcast system. Yep, gotta mix more epoxy. Nope, I can't start it without that leading edge on it. I gotta say on that leading edge in it. Yeah, well, test it somewhere else. Hmm, that's not good. That's not good. Hmm. You bitch. me get that one quite down in there as good as the others. Because I'm running out of epoxy. You motherfucker. And you can't get that to go down in there without putting a bevel on it. Okay. Let's mix up some more. Finish this up. I don't have much left. Just enough to do this job. Let's get this ready to go before I do that. I don't have a big problem. And I'll have more work into this profile fuselage than I will in the built-up. It's still got to be planed, sanded, and doublers put on it. Unbelievable. But it's going to be a cool profile. It will be the coolest. Yeah, this profile here is a lot of work. Okay. Well, I'll put it under another sheet of Mylar, come back and weight this all down. Hopefully it's straight as an arrow. We hope. And it stays that way. I'll finally start block sanding and shaping it. Don't want to grab my snap-on carpenter's handle with a epoxy pair of gloves. Snap-on. It's ridiculous. Okay. Well, now let's get rid of this. I'll start weighing this thing down. Let's wipe it off first, I guess. I don't know why I'm saving those, they're kind of empty. that wood out. I keep the bowed in the right direction. Still bowed a little bit. So we need to sand this side and get her weighted down. Okay, here's what we got so far. Pretty straight, but it'll be all right when I weight it all down here. And it should not move. With a couple clean pieces of mylar or something. Black paper or something. Here we I don't know why they got to sell it in 2-foot sheets. Why not sell me a roll so it's long enough? All right, this session we cut out the stab opening. I inlet some carbon I think the next step is to run those motor mounts through my chop saw in the garage. You got to cut 3/8 of an inch off the nose there and run it through the planer, and that'll plane everything to a constant thickness. And then the doublers. It'll be done by tonight. But right now, we've been on, let's see, a little over an hour, it looks like. Hour and a half. So in an hour and a half's time, I completed that project. And that'll work just fine, I'm sure. And if it does bow again, I'll have to scrap it and build a new one. That's the wood I got. You know, I got to make do with what I got. I have not. This is an experiment. It's just something I thought up while pondering this problem. This is a problem. How do I get out of it? Well, I think this is going to do it. The reason I think it's going to do it, it was bowed pretty bad. Now this is odd because when I laminated the wood together, I laminated them so that they were bowed out from the center. So they were opposing each other instead of like that or like that. They were bowed out. So I laminated it together, and the moisture or whatever in the glue caused it to twist. Okay, great. So I wetted the long side and relaxed it and weighted it, and yeah, it straightened it, but it had so much power in the wood, and then I took the weights off. Within a half an hour, it was back. I didn't bother steaming because it's a composite fuselage. It's 3 layers. So you got one glued to the center on this side and the other glued to the center on this side. So I knew that it wasn't going to move with steam. A composite is an impossibility. Anyway, well, I suppose I could do it if I got it hot enough. Anyway, I said, well, what happens if I put 2 longerons in it like this? And I made the caul, and I tacked glued a caul on the side of the fuselage to set it up for the fence and the table saw. I set it to 1/8 of an inch depth, and I ran it through top and bottom on both sides, and it relieved it, and it straightened right out. So that tells me there was a lot of power in that wood, because it's trying to always grow back to the sun. So I cut its umbilical cord, so to speak, and it relieved whatever power it had out of the wood. Well, this, it still had a little bow in it, but nothing like it had before. It was taking a left-hand turn. And when I was talking to Dan this morning, he said, well, sometimes fuselage is bowed in the right direction. Yeah, well, this one wasn't. This was bowed so it would chase me around the circle. So you got to think, I'm a mechanic, and when I have a problem, there's nobody there to help me. I can't, it's not like call a friend. I got to figure out the quickest, easiest solution to come back to zero. Well, this is what I dreamt up. I think it's going to work. We'll know here in by 3 o'clock, I'd say. I can take this out, and if it's good enough to run through the planer, it'll stay. I'm sure. And I'm pretty sure it's going to stay anyway. And for relatively little added weight, the thing's already getting heavy, but this is a big airplane. The finish will, the finishes are what kills you. This wing was cut. This core was cut with a flat leading edge so that you glued on a balsa leading edge. Well, I'm going to Gorilla Glue on some foam to that. Because I'm coring this out after the sheeting goes on, because I'm going to vacuum bag it. These are my coring templates. So I'll drop down the hot rod, the 1/4-inch hot rod through the center. We'll get these cored out. But I'm going to glue that foam leading edge on there, and I'm going to cut a radius on the leading edge instead of using that balsa wood leading edge. That'll lighten that up some. I think these will do it. I hope. Well, that's a tip, so we're gonna go there. I might thin this out some more too. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, they'll do it. So as it sits right now, my core is set to be 5/16. I think I can cut it down to 1/4 anyway. So in order to do that, I need to grind this line. I'll get the Dremel and thin this out to 3/8, and that'll lighten the core up a little bit. I don't have any really super good 16th inch wood, so I'm going to lose a little bit there. I'll probably lose an ounce or two right there because I don't have real good wood. I got shit wood. But I'm already going against my core by having to buy this plywood. I didn't want to buy anything. But it ain't going to happen without buying it. So I got to buy the plywood for the doublers. So I'll end up having $20 in it. That I have to pay out of pocket because I got all the rest of the stuff. Wheels and whatever I need. Dope. I got everything except for that plywood. I got everything in there to build another 5 airplanes, except for little odds and ends. But they're getting heavier and heavier and heavier. I need to start ordering wood. Because as you go through your wood, you're using your lightest first, and your second lightest, and your third lightest. And by the time you get down to 5 airplanes, you might as well use RC wood or build a kit. And can't have that. All right, thanks for watching. Remember, tonight we're having our hangout. Little different program on getting in. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but I got to keep knucklehead out. So we'll make sure you get in early, because once the meeting's closed, that's it. And I don't think I'm going to let it run afterwards either for the after party. You either get in or you don't. You know, I feel like some are taking advantage of that. I mistaking kindness for weakness, and I ain't going for it. Alrighty, like, subscribe, share. I'll see you later. Fair winds, tight lines. See ya.